Let's just jump right into this explainer, because research states there is literally an invisible giant completely rewiring our global reality right now. We so often think of disruption as like sudden storms or big financial crashes, but there's actually a massive, silent gear turning deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, and it is actively dictating the terms of our everyday lives.
Sources say this quiet shift deep in the Pacific Ocean is creating a massive 10,000-mile ripple effect that alters absolutely everything in its path. We're talking about a phenomenon here that unfolds so slowly across these deep ocean layers that, honestly, its immediate impacts are completely hidden from the casual observer. But make no mistake, its shadow is felt literally everywhere across the globe. And what's really fascinating is that these massive hidden layers dictate our everyday lives long before we even notice the weather changing outside our windows. Think about it. The price you pay for your morning cup of coffee, whether a city halfway across the world suddenly runs out of drinking water, and even just how hard the global power grid will have to work to keep the lights on, they are all secretly controlled by this deep Pacific heat.
Studies show exactly what we're dealing with here. And just to put it in the starkest terms possible, I want to read this quote to you directly. It is the single most powerful natural disruptor of our planet's climate system. So yeah, this is not just some localized storm. It is a total rewrite of the global weather rules.
Section 1. The Bathtub Engine. Let's look at how the Pacific Puppet Master actually works. To truly understand this without getting bogged down in meteorological jargon, just picture the equatorial Pacific Ocean as a massive bathtub. Under normal conditions, powerful trade winds act exactly like a giant broom. They sweep right across the ocean from South America all the way to Asia, pushing that sun-warmed top layer of water right along with them. And this allows cold, nutrient-rich water to rise up near South America, which is basically the lifeblood of their local marine ecosystems. But during El Niño, well, that atmospheric engine completely stumbles. The steady broom effect of those normal winds suddenly fails. They weaken, stall, or even reverse. And that causes an enormous warm water slosh back across the globe towards South America, completely suffocating that cold upwelling under a really thick blanket of heat.
Moving on to Section 2, the atmospheric domino effect, breaking the Indian monsoon.
See, the crucial point here is that when the ocean's heat moves, the atmosphere's massive cloud factory moves right along with it. And in India, El Niño acts as a heavy atmospheric brake on the critical southwest monsoon. The Pacific heat shifts east, and that completely alters the global jet streams. These changing air currents then push incredibly aggressively against those vital monsoon winds. So the result? The rain clouds that typically sit right over Asia pretty much pack up and move out to the central Pacific, and rainfall across the Indian subcontinent just drops dramatically.
Studies show that during these events, summer rainfall frequently plummets to about 90 to 92% of the long-period average. And historically speaking, roughly 2/3 of major monsoon failures in India have actually coincided with an El Niño year. Since Indian farming remains heavily rain-fed, this kind of deficit places just an incredible amount of moisture stress on critical summer crops, things like paddy, pulses, cotton, and sugarcane. It shrinks that precious planting window and severely disrupts the entire agricultural rhythm. And this lack of water, it triggers a really vicious cascading cycle. When the monsoon underperforms, major reservoir levels drop drastically. Then in the succeeding months, you start seeing city drinking water shortages emerge. Irrigation for winter sown or rabi crops simply disappears. And then comes this massive unseen strain. Because surface water dries up, millions of farmers essentially simultaneously turn on heavy electric and diesel groundwater pumps just to save their crops. And that puts an absolutely immense coordinated strain straight onto the regional power grid.
Section 3. The global chaotic pendulum. Let's look at how the ripple spreads.
Now, without giving any financial advice here, just look at this objective snapshot. The data is super clear. South America, specifically Peru and Ecuador, gets hit with torrential rainfall and flash floods, and that temporarily decimates their local fishing industry. Meanwhile, places like Australia and Indonesia are baking in severe droughts, leading to catastrophic bushfires. The United States usually sees a wetter south and a much warmer north. And what about the global economy? Well, it faces wild supply chain volatility. We start seeing sudden simultaneous spikes in the global cost of sugar, coffee, palm oil, and cocoa, all due to these coordinated crop failures. The economic gear shift is just massive.
Okay, Section 4, the La Niña snapback.
The pendulum swings violently.
Because the climate system behaves a lot like a giant physical pendulum, an extreme El Niño swing very often means a violent snapback.
Enter La Niña. Think of La Niña as the climate system taking that slow, warm El Nino nap, suddenly waking up, chugging a double espresso, and just throwing everything into fast forward. It's essentially the supercharged normal. Those equatorial trade winds don't just blow, they go into absolute overdrive. They aggressively shove that warm water back to Asia and pull up this enormous, thousands of miles long cold tongue of deep ocean water right near South America. It completely inverts the global weather blueprint.
Now, what's really interesting here is the complete geographic reversal. In India, a dry El Niño is abruptly replaced by a hyperactive monsoon. Sure, this brings widespread rain and bumper harvest for rice and sugarcane, but the primary danger shifts dramatically from drought to severe, widespread flooding across major river basins. Plus, you get unusually harsh winter cold waves. And globally, the inversion is super striking. Australia and Southeast Asia shift from bushfires to torrential rains and mudslides, while the Americas suddenly plunge into severe droughts and face a highly active Atlantic hurricane season.
Which brings us to Section 5, the economic gear shift, the food and wage roller coaster.
Let's dive into this hidden layer. Sources say the food inflation trajectory behaves exactly like a classic supply and demand pendulum. During the El Niño supply shock, production drops for water-intensive staples, sending things like sugar prices to literally multi-decade highs. But when La Niña arrives, the abundant rainfall brings a massive glut of agricultural output, which cools down wholesale grain prices. However, there is a catch here. Highly perishable vegetables like onions and tomatoes face a severe risk. If La Niña triggers localized flooding right during the harvest window, these crops can just rot in the fields. And that creates sharp, really aggressive price spikes even while overall grain inflation stays low.
This environmental pivot completely resets the structural economics of the rural workforce, too, creating a truly fascinating wage pendulum. Step 1 is the El Niño labor glut. Farms dry up, landowners cut back on acreage to minimize their risk, and suddenly you've got way too many laborers competing for way too few jobs. Wages flatline. Workers have to turn to government safety nets. But step 2 is the La Niña labor squeeze. With abundant water, every single farmer races to sow their fields at the exact same time, and the sudden labor squeeze forces landowners to raise their daily cash wages just to secure workers. This sharp spike in real rural income then unexpectedly sparks a roaring comeback in consumer demand for things like tractors, two-wheelers, and even smartphones.
Looking at this macro snapshot, it elegantly compares how entire national economies shift gears based almost solely on the temperature of the Pacific Ocean. I mean, we go from agricultural growth moderating or even turning negative during El Niño to a sharp percentage surge in the La Niña rebound year. Inflation risks run high in the deficit year due to food scarcity, but then systematically cool down in the rebound. We shift from importing commodities out of desperation straight back to a structural return to exporting surpluses. It's wild. The environment literally dictates the economy.
Section 6, Surviving the Climate Pendulum, Proactive Preparation.
Now, the really good news from the research is that these cycles move slowly enough to give us months of fair warning. So the crucial point is that cities, farmers, and businesses must use these calm, dry spells to prepare. Farmers can start shifting to flood-tolerant crop varieties and building raised seed beds. Rural communities really need to use those dry El Niño months to desilt village water bodies and drainage channels early on, so when La Niña hits, they're trapping water instead of flooding homes. Cities have got to clear stormwater drains and put rainwater harvesting into absolute overdrive. And businesses? They need to be mapping out alternative logistics routes right now to avoid flood-prone corridors while supply chains brace for shifts from scarcity to an absolute glut.
Ultimately, this climate pendulum is a powerful, predictable force of nature that connects deep ocean currents directly to the food on our tables and the wages in our pockets. As we watch the Pacific heat shift once again, moving us from one extreme phase right into the next, it leaves us with one critical, absolutely unavoidable question. Is your city ready for the snapback?